And we're live. What is up, Twitch and YouTube? First of all, always the first thing I seem to forget, let's get some music started. I feel like some interesting music today. I don't know. I guess we'll go with this for now. Why is my Twitch offline? Alright, there we go. Now it says I'm live. I should really figure out what to name. Well, like what category would my stream go into on Twitch, you know? Because we're not just chatting, you know? Well, I mean, let's take a look at I don't know how to yeah, I don't know. Lore? Is that one? Oh, that actually is a Lore is, but I think that's another game. Yeah, I don't know. I'll just go with just chatting for now. I just realized I could move my mic closer to my face. And then, yeah. And then you can hear me better. So, nobody's live yet. So we have one viewer on Twitch. Yeah. One viewer on Twitch, one on YouTube. Nobody's in chat yet. I have 36 followers on Twitch. That's pretty cool. Yo, what's up, Mithril? How's it going? Hope you're doing well today. Today's just a lore one today. We might be able to get to a little bit of character creation if I feel like it and if we have enough time. Who knows though? We'll see. Sadly, no battle today. Let's see here. Let me pull up my notes. And I will check to see when the next battle is. Let's see. Oh yes, next week is the next battle. And then we have another battle. And we have another battle. And then kind of maybe another battle if I feel like it. And then maybe another battle. So we have at least 3 battles this season. Up to 5. Yeah. Excited for that. It's going great. That's good to hear. The battles I'm actually really excited for. Been thinking about this new format. We're gonna have some fun stuff. Hopefully everybody's real excited about it. But until then, today's about the new factions. It is season 3, which means there are new factions. 2 new factions for everybody watching this in the past, or if you're new here. Well, no, if you're watching this in the future, or if you're new here, I will go into the factions for you real quick. So, starting with the original faction, we have Alani. Or Taea. I actually don't remember who the original faction was. Yeah, I don't remember who the original faction was. Probably. Oh no, it actually. Nope. Yep, it was Alani. So the Alani, they are dwarves, and they like building things out of metal and stone. They like gemstones, all those fun things. Okay, so yeah, Taea, Chahar, Alani, and Anŷn were the original factions when I started calling them factions, but as far as the countries go, when I started drawing them, Alani was the first. The second was Taea. Taea is the land of innovation and invention. And what's up, Shroom? How are you? And they were the creators of the rifle. And many other cool inventions. Then over there we have Chahar. Chahar is the warriors faction. They are expert strategists. Oh yeah, Alani, these are dwarves. Taea are humans. Chahar are also humans, but they're warriors and strategists, very smart people. Then over here at the bottom we have the Anŷn. They are the elves, and they're searching for all the knowledge in the world, and they're very agile people. Then up there we have the Zedans, and the Zedans are seafaring folk who are actually Taean relatives, but the Zedans are tired of Taean tyranny over them, and so they're rebelling, and the oceanic dryads have combined with the Zedan humans to create kind of like a super soldier. So that's cool. Zeda is my current faction. I'm not biased. They're all my favorite factions, but Zeda is my current favoritist faction. But I'm very excited for these 2 new factions, which we are going to talk about today. We have Ima Turida and Gendron. It looks like Gendron, but it is pronounced Gendron. Just so you know. And so with that, I am going to start on the lore. I have to open a different page, so if I pause and forget where I am, it's because I'm looking at chat. So, war rages in the south of Atos. hold on. We need some more better music for this. Alright, this is pretty good. Let me know if the music is too loud and I'll lower it. War rages in the south of Atos. Alani fighting against the Anŷn inventors. The siege of the Dominion Tree slugs on slowly, and the battle of the Zedan breach. And the battle on the Zedan beaches turn into guerrilla warfare. But in the north and the east, new factions come from the fog of war. The Gendroni are orcs, their lineage long, bloody, and sorrowful. But orcs they are nonetheless. They existed on the face of Atos since the days of the Dark Empire, an era called the Dark Days. They came from afar and ruled over the continent for many years until the Great Revolution. The Chaharians swept across the lands of the Dark Empire and wiped out the orcs and the trolls. But 3 orc camps remained and begged for mercy from the vengeful Atosians. Moved to pity or to manipulation, the Chaharians saved the orcs from utter destruction and gave them the lands in the northeast to call their own. Over the following decades and centuries, the Chaharians grew their kingdom, asking for Gendroni aid in return for a larger orcish kingdom. The 2 warlords of the east were now allied and built the largest empire the world had ever seen since the likes of the Dwarvish Empire. But the Gendroni are dangerous allies, and the Chaharians called for their aid very little. So the alliance slept for many a year. Now, I would like to point out that yes, Taea is pretty big. It goes like that. But Chahar is technically all of the lands of Gendron, which goes up to here, and across, and over here to Ima Turida, down like that. So, the land of Chahar is pretty big because Gendron is kind of a part of Chahar, just like Zeda is a part of Taea. They're 2 kingdoms, but they're 1 empire. The East-West War piqued the interest of the war-starved orcs, but the Chaharians were wary of them and went to the Anŷn first. This outraged the orcs, but they hid. What? I wrote down my notes and I did not write them down correctly. Alright, this outraged the orcs, but they stayed back and watched from the bench as the Chaharians played tug-of-war with the West. Internal fighting was a constant in Gendron, but for the time being the civil wars had quieted down and they turned their eyes outward. Multiple times the Gendroni sent to the Chaharian emperor, asking to be sent to the front lines. But the response was the same every time. The Gendroni were their final weapon. The time was not yet right to use the might of the Gendroni. This satisfied the orcs for the time being, but the hunger still gnawed at their stomachs. Time passed, and the Gendroni waited restlessly, their time seeming to never come. Then the Chaharians fell into the Taean trap and became locked inside the Dominion Tree. The emperor watched his men die from the capital city, then gave his go-ahead. The Gendroni weapon was now unleashed to run rampant on the Western Front. Alright, so go ahead and ask me any questions you have about the Gendroni. I'll take this time to answer them before I move on to the Ima Turidans. If you have any questions about their lore, about their abilities, about their race, whatever you have, let me know. I'll be happy to answer it. Do they hate the dwarves? In reality, the Gendroni hate everything. Just because they are, they're orcs, they're twisted. So yeah, they kind of hate everybody, but they put up with the Chaharians because the Chaharians give them war and give them peace, kind of. Like, they don't utterly obliterate the Gendroni. So, you know, there's that part of it. Are there goblins as well? No, there are not goblins. There are trolls, and there are orcs, but there are no goblins. If there were to be goblins, they would be the same thing. So a goblin and an orc would be the same in my world. At least in this world. Well, the lore is actually going pretty quickly. Surprised about that. So I probably will have time to talk about character stuff with you guys. It'll be fun. I'm really excited for the Gendroni too. Yeah, it's just going to be a cool faction. I already pretty much have mapped out in my head where everything's going to go in Gendron. Just to make way for the Des, which are north of them. And then Gendron is just such a small faction. I mean, comparatively, compared to Taea and Chahar, there's not much else to be drawn in Gendron. For the most part, Gendron is actually just mostly a wasteland. The orcs don't really, they don't plant things unless it's for their meat, and they're just kind of savages, so, you know, kind of more of a wasteland. I mean, there are places where animals graze, but for the most part, the Gendroni get what they want from wars, and that's why it's kind of why they do what they do. They don't know how to farm, or, I mean, they kind of know how to hunt, of course, a little bit, but for the most part, they get what they need from war, which is slightly different from the Chaharians. The Chaharians do have like sport hunting, and they do have farms and that kind of thing, fields, farmlands. So they could support themselves. Chahar just wants power, so that's kind of their reason for war. Gendron, I guess Gendron has war to survive. Like, that's just kind of built into their orcish brains, is war. A little teaser, that's what the orcs were created for, was for war. Who created them? I don't know. How they were created? I don't know. But yeah. Alright, I'll go ahead and start on the lore of Ima Turida. Now, sadly, the lore of Ima Turida is a little bit shorter. I could go into a little bit of history. I'll read through what I have, and then I'll go into a little bit more of their history afterwards. But yeah. So, across the border, the Ima Turidans are a completely different race. The Laurels, the race of the Ima Turidans, are ancient. They have been around ages before even the dwarves. The Laurels were around in the infancy of Atos and have seen the passing of many an age and many a sorrow. Long have they passed down the secret histories of the world. Their culture is built on history and tradition. A deep respect for their elders is set upon their hearts, something that is not much seen throughout the world of Atos. And this meant that the histories rarely ever changed. Many in Atos say, why don't we go to Ima Turida to ask the Laurels for the answers of the ancient days? Pardon me. But the Laurels are very private and very secretive. They won't allow their histories to crawl beyond their borders into the lands of the war-stricken outsiders for one reason. No one ever listened to the Laurels. Since the dawn of the dwarves, the Laurels were staunch pacifists. They taught the dwarves peace and harmony, but the dwarves did not listen. They were rough, stubborn, and boisterous. The dwarves left the Laurels for their own way of life. The elves were brought up by the Laurels as well, taught them the way of peace and prosperity, but the elves were as stubborn as the dwarves and self-righteous. They went on their own way for the search of knowledge. This was the pattern of the ages until the Laurels eventually gave up and became closed off. They were kind to the races, but never changed. They were kind to the races that never changed, but the races did not share the same kindness unless it was to use the Laurels. But the Laurels were smart and did not accept the help of outside nations. But after years, the Laurelic existence was threatened. They were given a small home near the border of Taea, and the Taeans protected the Laurels for the sole reason of respecting the elder race. The Laurels were allowed to keep their secrets and to block outsiders, and the Taeans would still protect them. As long as Taea protected Ima Turida, no man asked the Laurels for a favor. This long tradition of peace lasted through many wars, the Laurels rarely defending themselves. Then the East-West War began, their borders erupting in war as Taeans and Chaharians fought against each other. Eventually the orcs got pulled into the war, at least that's what the rumor suggested. And the Laurels began to wonder what they were supposed to do. Would they eventually have to go to war? Some said that they would have to defend themselves if the histories and lores of the world were to keep on existing. But some thought they would have to trade their histories for the spite of war. The Laurels watched and waited, wondering when they would have to fight. So you can go ahead and ask me, oh, what's up, Luca? How are you? So go ahead and ask me any questions you have about the Laurels and the Ima Turidans. But yeah, the Laurels are peace-loving people. They do not want war. They do not want to see their past brought up in war. The world was long stricken by war, far beyond the days of the dwarves, and Laurels regretted it for unknown reasons that they never divulged to anyone. And so that's kind of where they came up with just being pacifists. And they were shuffled around a lot. There used to be massive Laurelic cities, and the kingdom of the Laurels stretched far and wide. But for some reason, the Laurelic people got whittled down to just 4 settlements. And so those settlements were located here around Telecon, here in the Dragon Mountains, somewhere in the Dragon Pass, likely. near the city of Sucra, and up there where Teron is in Taea. And so most of those cities eventually got destroyed. There are no longer Ima Turidans in the mountains of Alani and Anŷn, or in the mountains of Chahar. And so the final settlement of the Laurels is where Ima Turida is right now. And so yeah, the Laurels right now are actually one of my favorite races as far as races go, not factions. They're pretty cool. I like them. Their history's awesome. I can't wait to delve into their history through books and stuff someday, hopefully. If you are interested in reading more about my lore, you should go check out my Patreon. Link is in my bio, where I am trying to write some lores for the world and short stories about Atos and just random short stories as well. It's also a way for you to help support me if you would like to. So yeah, those are the two factions. We got Gendron and Ima Turida, and the Laurels and the orcs, and the kind of polar opposites of Atos. And what will actually happen to them is yet to come. Obviously, the Gendroni are going to war for the Chaharians. But what will happen with the Ima Turidans? Now, that was a lot shorter. I thought it would take maybe an hour for me to go through that lore, but you know, that's live streaming for you, I guess. So we will switch gears and go to character creation. I think most of you have or know what I'm talking about. Shroom and Mithril. Luca, I'm not sure about you. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, on my Discord, there's a character introductions channel where you can drop your character introductions. But we need to decide what stats will be used for the upcoming games. Luca, you don't know? Okay, sick. So, if you're new here, I don't know if I've seen you before, but if you're new here, we have 7 factions: Zeda, Alani, Alani, Chahar, Taea, Gendron, and Ima Turida. And you can join one of them. You can head on over to my Discord, also in my bio, aka the channel description on YouTube, and you can join a faction. Speaking of which, I need to add the factions to my Discord. I realized that I hadn't added them earlier today, so I need to do that either this weekend or on Monday. But yeah, anyways, you can join a faction, and then in the character character intros channel, you can drop your character. And while you're in my Discord, you can check out the Wanderer's Guide, I think is what I called it. It's a channel as well. And it'll go into the depths of lore, factions, and what you do. But here's a quick synopsis, I guess, for you. Every now and then, occasionally on a live stream, we have a battle stream where you guys will fight against each other as your faction. Let me grab the board real quick. So that is the current board. We need to do some playtesting next week, next live stream, next Friday, to decide kind of how big we want the board. We decided that this board is currently too big. So I'm kind of thinking maybe like A to I, and then 1 to maybe 8. That might be a good size. 1 to 7, and then 8 to I, maybe. But anyways, so I have all these pieces here that we can set up on the board to make different landscapes. And so the new thing that we're trying is champions, and champions are going to be controlled by you. That is going to be your character. And then I'm going to create a list of stats for you that will impact the battle. Then you'll fight other people, and then also be in the war as it's going on around you. So there will be soldiers and cannons and all of that fun stuff. So, I forgot, I told you that. Yes, let's see here. I am going to, can you do me a favor, Mithril, and DM me that link? Because I'm not going to remember it after the stream, and I have to add you on my phone because I can't access it on my computer because... A long story. Anyways, doesn't matter. So yeah, just DM me the link for your Discord. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so what stats, if you guys have any ideas for what stats should be included in this battle, so imagine risk mixed with battleship mixed with D&D. All three of those combined into one. What kind of stats for like kind of like a one-off battle where you have your character, your champion on the board? What kind of stats would be desirable for that? I'm thinking, yeah, a health stat. That's actually, I didn't think about that one. So there would definitely be an attack stat, a movement stat. You know, I need to write this down before I forget. So we got a health stat, movement. So health could make it last longer. There would have to be a health stat. Pretty much, there would have to be a movement stat, fighting, attacking stat, defense would be one. Yeah, strength and speed are also needed, yep. I think strength would probably be the attacking stat. There could maybe be an agility stat for like getting through brush or over a rock type of thing. So like if you have a agility of 1, you can do that. If you have an agility of 2, you maybe can do that. If you have an agility of 3, then you cannot do that kind of thing. There would have to be a range, which would kind of feed into attacking. So yeah, there would be a range. And so here, this is what we'll do. Moria, drop your character. Just drop some basic lore of your character in the chat. Like, what kind of weapons does your character use? What is kind of the backstory, basic backstory of your character? What does your character like? What does he hate? Kind of thing. And then we'll test making this stat for you. I am a knight. Tolvan, I wield a great sword of great length, 7 feet long. I am a dwarf. Cool. Kind of what's the basic backstory? Just like, what defines you as a knight? I am Tolvanolus, a knight of little renown. With a start as a simple blacksmith forging weapons for knights. One day I said I would become like them, a great warrior, and prove to all of Alani that I am a knight of honor and chivalry. Cool. Alright. So. Knight Tolvan. Health would be he's a dwarf, so let's see. I think health would range from 1 to 1 to 5 maybe? 5 would be unkillable. 1 would be insta-death, right? Maybe 1 to 10. So 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. I don't think strength will play that much into it. I think that if you're able to be strong, to heave a great sword, then that's fine. I think your attack strength would have a little bit difference than your strength, because you would have to have your strength for, okay, let's say you're really, really strong. Let's say you have a strength of 7, right? 1 out of 10, your strength is 7. Your great sword relies on, we'll say, 6 of that strength. So then you only have 1 strength left. So I think strength won't matter. I think it would be attack strength. Would just be the difference between however strong you are. So then strength could be measured as attack strength, speed, agility, and all. Well, yeah, attack, speed, and agility. Attack, strength, speed, and agility would be all under strength, but strength isn't going to be like an exact measurement. So we got health, right? 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. Movement speed. I mean, your movement speed could be as fast as you possibly want. I think your average would probably be 1 to 3 maybe. Unless you're like the Flash, then you have a horse or something, then it's probably increased. But that's what I'm kind of thinking for that, for the movement. And then attacking, this is where you need something interesting. So attacking would be either 1 to 3 or 1 to 5, based on which system of health we go. If it's 1 to 5, then it's 1 to 3 for attacking. If it's, yeah, and then if it's 1 to 10, then it's 1 to 5 attacking, maybe. Weapons probably need to count for damage as well, because if I had 7 in strength and only got 1 for damage because I used a 6 on my weapon and a short sword that only uses 2, would get 5 for damage, which is a lot better. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm kind of saying that we shouldn't really have that strength. It should be more attack strength on the attack stat based on what kind of weapon you have, maybe what your skill mastery of the said weapon is, and how strong you are. So I think that's kind of where I'm going for this attack statistic. So maybe most people would have an attack of 1. So I'm gonna Range, I mean, range could be anything, so I'm gonna leave that one empty. Defense, I mean, could be an added, maybe 1 to 3 armor, or 1 to 5. Well, no. I'm thinking, So the question is, how complicated do we want this? Because if we want a defense and health and etc., I think a percentage would be better. For as far as defense goes, we should keep it simple as we can. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. So then maybe we should just go the 1 to 5 health route, because whatever we decide for how much health we have kind of dictates the rest of the game and the rest of the stats. So, Mithril, do you think we should go 1 to 5 or 1 to 10? 1 to 5 would definitely make it a shorter match, a shorter battle. A 1 to 10, maybe. I mean, it has more room for. I mean, we could try out both systems. I think that's probably a better way to go, is just to try out. 1 to 10 is probably yeah, because that 1 to 10 does kind of give that more a little bit more room to kind of decide. Like each champion, you know. So I think we'll start with the 1 to 10 next week. If it doesn't feel right, then we'll switch to the 1 to 5. Agility, I think it's just gonna be 1, 2, and 3. If you're 1, then you're really agile. Or no, if you're 1, you're not agile at all. If you're 2, you're either gonna make it or you're not. If it's 3, then you're very agile. So I think that's what we're gonna try for now. Do you have any other ideas for what we could do for stats? I think this is pretty basic and pretty good. And then if I feel like there's something else I need to add, I could probably add it. So we got health, 1 to 10. Movement is an average of 1 to 3 spaces. Attacking is about 1 to 5, maybe more, depending on how much of everything else you have. Range could be up to infinite. Defense, if we decide to do this is where it gets a little bit more complicated, would be a percentage to base 10. Agility is a 1, 2, or 3. Does that sound kind of good to you? Don't do a defense. It is better to just have a health stat for a system of this type. Okay. Okay, so Knight Tolvan. He probably seems like he'd have a little bit of a lower health based on kind of his background. Like, he doesn't have a lot of defensive nature, you know? So maybe he has some like armor, but I feel like he probably doesn't have a whole lot. So I'm gonna say that Tolvan's health is maybe like an average 7 is kind of what I'm thinking for that. And then for his movement, he's a dwarf with a great sword, so he's gonna have a terrible movement speed of 1. I mean, it might even be a 1 depending on it. 1, yeah, I think maybe a 1 of 4 maybe for the movement speed normals. So Knight Tolvan, terrible movement speed of 1. His range, he does have a pretty good range because he has a longer sword. So he'd probably have a range of 2. So around him, up to 2 spaces away from him. Defense, oh yeah, we decided probably no defense. And then agility, he has no agility, so he has a 1 on that. Alright, so Knight Tolvan's, wait, I missed one. Movement? Attacking. Oh, right, the most important part is attacking. His attack would probably be... Well, I mean, he has a greatsword. It's probably extremely strong. He's a dwarf. So his attack is maybe something like on the upper end of a 4. We'll say a 4. Since he has the range, I'm wondering if his health should be a 6 instead. And I'm also wondering if I should change the health from 5 to 10 instead of 1 to 10. So I'll post what I have in the chat. Knight Tolvan, health 7, movement 1, attacking 4, range 2, agility 1. I think it might actually be a valid idea to change. Well, I mean, because you could have somebody who's like crazy strong, crazy range, crazy speed, but they only have 1 health. And that might be interesting. I think I might just leave it open so that you do have a lot more ability. And I think these are just going to be averages. Like, if somebody's like, okay, here's my character. This dude is super fast. And if he touches you, he will punch you across the map. But he's also, like, super weak. Right? So we could do something like that. So I think what I'm going to have is these are just averages. These aren't set in stone. Violence. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. And then next stream we can try them out. See what people decide to do for that. Well, I don't have anything else for tonight. Thanks for listening to me ramble. I hope it wasn't too boring. Hope you guys enjoyed the lore. I hope you guys will actually like the new characters. Or factions. I meant factions, not characters. I mean characters, yeah, too. But I hope you guys like the new factions. So yeah, I'm gonna call it a stream. Hope you guys have an amazing rest of your evening. Yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Have a wonderful weekend and amazing next week. Hope to see you next Friday. Take care. Peace.